This show is part of the HeadStuff podcast network.
Hello, how are you getting on? And welcome to another lovely episode of Listen, I'm Delicious. This is episode, I believe, 4. If I've gotten the number wrong, I'm very sorry. This week we're talking to Ciarán Dunne. He is a fabulous chef on the internet. He's famous for, what I seen him for first was his roast potatoes. He does the most amazing, crunchy, golden, beautiful roast potatoes. And when I seen them roast potatoes, I was like, I have to get him in on the podcast on the off chance that he might make them for me. And he did bring some absolutely delicious food. So we're going to be trying his favourite meal. And it's also my favourite meal. So now, I am going to add a scoring system eventually. I haven't been very good at keeping up with it, but eventually we're going to have like a leaderboard and everybody's favourite meals and snacks and stuff are going to be on the leaderboard. So far, I think Ciarán Dunne's going to take it because he brought in my absolute favourite food. It's sandwich-based. You know how I feel about sandwiches. And I just think it's great, you know, a man who can cook. Sorry, I said the word cook a bit weird. I'll try and say it in a more internationally friendly way. I usually say cook, but cook. I also say Facebook instead of Facebook. So I'm learning. I'm trying to be accessible to a global audience. So just bear with me. But there's nothing better than a man who can cook. I'm atrocious at cooking. I can do a bacon and cabbage. I can do a lasagna, but it's the kit. Do you know, I couldn't make the pasta myself and the sauce myself or anything. If I have the kit, I can make a lasagna. And I'm convinced, even though we're all putting together the same kit, my lasagna is nicer than other people's lasagna. And you can try it yourself if you have any questions about that. And I think you'll be pleasantly surprised with the way that I do it. But I've never been a good cook. Good eater, brilliant eater, one of the best. But never a good cook. And I just think being able to cook, like if you're a man out there and you're looking to impress the women, a lot of fellas are going out to nightclubs trying to tell jokes, you know, trying to be funny, trying to have a personality. People are sick of personalities. Everybody's a fucking personality now. I think forget about the personality and go all in on cooking. Just imagine it, right? You knock up to the nightclub, you have a few homemade cookies, maybe a lovely set of cupcakes you've made, and maybe you've made somebody, you know, a lovely risotto or something nice and foreign like that. You'd clean the place up. You'd be going home with probably 3 or 4 ladies fighting over you. So I think that's the way to go. I think being able to cook absolutely oozes sex appeal, and I've been thinking about going and doing a culinary course soon, just to learn how to make just a couple of nice things that I can, because I've always wanted to be one of them people, you know, when I move in somewhere, I go to the neighbours and I'm like, just after making these buns for you, they're unreal, and then all my neighbours will be like, that's the fellow who makes the buns, he's an absolute legend, we're going to look out for him. If he ever gets burgled, I'm not going to let it happen because he makes fucking nice buns. Do you know, that's the way a community is meant to be built. And I think buns are a big part of it. One of the reasons that I might kind of be afraid to take a culinary course is I'm sort of terrified of gourmet food. My first time having gourmet food actually was only last year. I had it at an event and they brought out a load of stuff. It was very small. I didn't understand any of it. At one point, I was having a main course and it was like a liver pate, and there was a jelly. And it was made out of vegetables, and there was a tiny little croissant, and then there was like what appeared to be like a little bit of ice cream, like a lime flavoured ice cream kind of on the plate. And I had absolutely no idea how I was meant to approach that or what I was meant to do with it. I tried sort of dipping everything. That didn't taste nice. That can't be the way they meant it to taste. So I'm fairly sure I was eating it wrong. I was obviously probably supposed to eat it a bit more sophisticated. But no, I don't want to learn that sort of stuff. I just want to learn how to make a lovely risotto. I absolutely love risottos. But anyway, that's pretty much my rant about that, about how I can't cook and how I'd like to be able to cook. And now let's go to a man who can cook, a man who oozes cooking sex appeal, as I like to call it, and who's an absolute legend. We had a great chat. Here it is. It's Ciarán Dunne. Food done right. Hello, how are you getting on? Welcome, it's myself, Garron. You're listening to Listen, I'm Delicious. I'm here with Ciarán, Food Done Right. And we're going to talk about, you have brought some selection of food with you.
Yeah, I'm an indecisive man, so I was going to bring more as well.
I was excited about this because I know from watching your videos, I was like, oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be serious. And then you were heating something up in the microwave when I came in.
I had stuff in the oven as well.
And I got a smell and I was like, oh, this is going to be very good. So to be honest with you, usually I'd do a bit more of an introduction, but I think we'll do that after.
We're just going to eat. Just going to sit here eating for an hour. Like.
We'll just to talk briefly about what you do first. So the videos I've seen of yours is you do a lot of sort of simple recipes, but by the time you're finished with them, they look like the nicest thing I've ever eaten in my life. And you do death row meals.
Yeah, that's the new one at the moment.
Yeah. So what gave you the idea for the death row meals?
The death row is just, I've always seen people, like one of the biggest questions I get asked all the time is, if I put a Q&A thing up, it's what's your death row meal?
Yeah.
And I was like, shit, obviously because I'm coming from a food perspective, that's a given question.
Yes.
I was like, I wonder if other creators get that same question all the time. Now,
I have been asked that question.
So that's why I had a
feeling.
feeling. So I was like, how many people could I go through just to see as like non-foodies and foodies to see if are people are going real high end, real low end, comfort, basic, whatever. But yeah, it's a bit
I think if you're about to die, you want comfort.
That's what I'm thinking.
You're not trying to challenge your palate at that point.
No.
What's your death row meal then?
Oh, see, mine's, I've been dreading this as well, but it'd be a 3-course. It'd have to be a 3-course. Starter is this meal that changed food for me.
Okay.
I wouldn't say I was a fussy eater growing up.
Yeah.
But I was kind of like, I don't want to try that because of the look of something.
Yeah.
And there was one time we were away and my mum and dad had gone out for dinner with a few friends and a man beside me got this like stuffed peppers dish. It was stuffed with like cod and like a roasted red pepper sauce. And I was looking at it and he goes, do you want to try it? I said, no. And he goes, why? And I was like, I don't like it. And he was like, well, have you had it before? And I said, no. And he goes, well, how do you know you don't like it? And then in that moment, I was like 14.
Yeah.
And I was like, I have this very large Cockney man. I was like,
trying to force a stuffed pepper on you.
So I was like, all right, either in this moment, I continue to be a child, or I was like, I just try it. And I tried it, and it was like fireworks.
What was in it?
It was like a bechamel kind of cod filling.
You're going to have to explain bechamel.
It's like the white sauce out of a lasagna.
Okay, so I understand.
Yeah, white sauce out of lasagna mixed with like cod and stuff.
Okay.
Stuffed into these peppers, and then it's all served in like a roasted pepper sauce.
Yes, that
just
sounds
a small,
incredible.
but it was unbelievable. Still,
so that's the starter.
That's 100% the starter.
What's our main course then?
I think because we were saying comfort, it'd have to be something from my ma's, either my ma's roast dinner or potentially stew or coddle. Just because they were the things I remember coming home from school, and even now, like if I walk into the house and I can smell any of those 3 things,
yeah,
it's like I'm 10 again.
I would imagine roast dinner is like
I'd
90% of people.
100%.
Coddle's a weird one,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
So I didn't have. So I was born in Dublin, but I lived in Mayo since I was 2. So I never had coddle as a kid.
Yeah.
And I tried it when I was about 25 up here, and I was extraordinarily skeptical. We might put a picture of coddle on screen.
Yeah, it's a
just in case you haven't seen
big
it. But
bowl of boiled Mickeys.
It's basically boiled sausages. It looks like a bowl of Willies.
It's the most horrendous thing in the world, and the amount of people, I did a video
And
on that
traditionally
last year.
as well, it's not even supposed to have a lot of the stuff. It's supposed to just be like
potatoes, onions,
and water.
Water, I think it's just bacon scraps and cheap sausages.
Yeah.
Where like I think over the years people have dressed it up like, oh yeah, add turnips and carrots to it now.
Yeah.
But there's the same with ant, and people will argue over that's not
And even
traditional.
the water, I think the way I've seen you're meant to make it, I could be wrong about this, is you're meant to like blend onions into it or something like that. You're
think
meant to
some
blend
people-
onions into water, and that's the sauce.
Basically,
Yeah.
Where I just use veg stock, but I think a lot of people use soup bases now as
Yeah.
well. They'll use like a potato and leek soup base and mix that in too.
But for the most horrendous looking meal I've ever seen in my life, it's surprisingly nice.
Yeah,
it
it's
actually
it's
is.
a comfort. It's a
really
proper
comfort, yeah.
meal. It's so warm.
So dessert, what's dessert?
Apple crumble, warm apple crumble,
Okay, that's
cold
true.
ice cream.
Absolutely.
Like I think there's other desserts I potentially like more, but just as a comfort thing, like just the smell of a warm apple crumble.
Yeah, I have the most sort of lowbrow death row meal ever. I'm gonna have to change it up because I don't think it's interesting enough. Mine is I would go to Dunne stores and get a rotisserie chicken stuffed. I'd get some coleslaw and some, all of that stuff you get out of the sandwiches part.
Yeah.
I'll have some egg mayonnaise, whatever's on display, a bit of couscous, all of that. and some nice fresh rolls.
Yeah.
And then I'll just, while I'm on death row, because it's a time killer as well,
Yeah.
that's what you have to think.
No, I want to assemble it myself.
Yeah,
like,
I'll just be assembling. I'll just be assembling rolls the whole time. And then I have probably a lot of people's pet peeve dessert, which is ambrosia rice pudding. It's my absolute favourite dessert.
I remember that as a kid as well. Like
I want like 5 cans of it. I'm just going to fucking sit there eating rolls.
Making eye contact with the executioner the whole time.
Yeah, absolutely. They probably won't even execute me. But yeah, it's...
I think I'm going to enjoy what I brought along with me then.
Okay. I'm looking forward to this. First of all, you brought me a present.
Yeah, I did bring you a present.
So this is actually separate to the to the other stuff we're going to eat. But what have we got here?
So they are Kinder and Milky Bar cookie bars.
I've got to see them.
I used to kind of make them and sell them during lockdown. I got into a habit of bringing them to people and events. So anytime I get brought anywhere,
that.
I try to bring them.
That looks absolutely incredible. I'm going to have a little taste. Oh, man. They're not lasting today. They weigh about a kilogram. So I'm going to weigh about a kilogram more by the time I even leave here. Thank you very much. Absolutely delicious.
No bother at all.
I'll wrap them up properly. So, your favourite drinks? You've gotten thirsty already.
Yeah,
You've already started on
I'm
them.
a 2-drink man.
Explain the thought process between the 2 drinks.
So I like something with a bit of fizz for the thirst.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that, and then that's the strawberry kiwi sparkling ice.
Yeah, it's very good.
I got hooked on that in Orlando a few years ago. It was the first time I tried it.
It is very
And
good.
once I saw them here, I've been buying them flat out.
Yeah.
This is a recent addition. I used to get, I think it's just the plain watermelon.
Watermelon and peach, this one is.
Yeah, and I saw it when River Rock brought that out. I tried it.
This is very exotic. I feel so. I've tried that one, and I'm a big fan. This is a regular for me as well. And I've never had this watermelon and peach. Very exotic. Let me have a go. I feel like a wine taster. Oh, that is good.
a bit of a swirl and everything.
That is good, and it's got vitamin B6 and zinc. It's good for your immune system. If you're 5 a day with it in that water.
That's been kiwi strawberry. You're laughing after this.
Okay, so we have snacks as well.
Snacks. So this was, again, I actually was talking to my girlfriend about this, and because of how indecisive I was. So I have morning snacks.
Yeah.
And I have an evening snack.
Of course.
So my morning snacks just came from work because we'd be on the road early and we'd be stopping in the garage at 6 o'clock and I'd be grabbing 3 sausages and a jambon.
Yeah.
And I didn't really want to be bringing more food along with me. So I was like, no, I won't go for the morning snacks. I'll go for the evening ones.
Okay.
So
so the morning snack is a jambon?
Jambon and 3 sausages from the day.
That's
like
genius.
Just in a bag, 3 sausages and then jambon.
Absolutely.
Quick little bite.
So the evening snacks then is Manhattan crisps.
Yeah, my favourite cheese and onion crisps.
Manhattan cheese and onion crisps. Bit of sacrilege here, not bringing the potato.
I know. And anytime I get asked Tato or King, I'll always reply Manhattan.
Manhattan. Okay, I'm going to have to...
They're just, I don't know, they're thicker than, the way Tato is, they're a bit thinner.
Okay.
And they're always loaded
I
with
kind of
seasoning.
see it. I kind of see it. I should have brought some Tato to do like a size comparison. But there's definitely a bit of girth in these.
Yeah, a bit more crunch. They're good pub crisp as well.
They're good. They're more flavourful, actually.
Definitely. They're a bit more on the potent side of things compared to...
Yeah, it is. I feel like I'm getting hit with a cheese and onion atomic bomb in the mouth. They are good. Okay. I kind of see it. When did you move over to the Manhattan crisp? I'd say they're good in a sandwich as well because the flavour puff.
So I always used... They were always a pub crisp. Like that's them and bacon fries. And it was only then I started copping... I never looked for them in shops because I was like, they're pub crisp only.
Yeah.
And then a few local spots, I actually saw them. So I was like, right, grand, I'm not buying anything else anymore. I'm buying them.
Oh yeah, they're good. And also you've gone for the Bueno Bueno White. I've got a bit of a rant about this, okay?
I've watched many of your chocolate bar ranking lists.
Do you know what I'm going to say about this?
I can't remember about the Buenos.
You know I have an issue with it though.
Yeah, I know you have an issue with Buenos.
Why are you picking the... Do you know they don't really sell these in America? You have to go to like special shops.
Really?
Yeah. I can't believe it.
I know Kinder aren't as big in America as they are here anyway.
Every single one of my favourite snacks is a Kinder product. I love Kinder Pinguis. I love Maxi Kings. I love Buenos. I love everything. Why the white Kinder Bueno above the normal one?
I don't know. I actually don't have a lot of reasoning for it. It's just, I don't know if it's just a recency bias that I've gone onto them again.
Yeah.
Because it's been a while since I've had them.
Yeah.
And while I was away, I had one. And then I was just like, no, I'm hooked on Kinder Buenos again.
Okay, so my issue with Kinder Buenos that Kinder Bueno is my favorite bar too.
Yeah,
so
okay,
you're in
that's
good
all right.
company here. My issue with Kinder Bueno White is they've got a bit of an engineering flaw.
Yeah.
And I'm going to explain that to you right now. So the regular Kinder Bueno is delicious. If you're not familiar with a Kinder Bueno, it's basically chocolate covered wafer with interior of hazelnut, whatever that hazelnut mousse they put in things is. Now, the problem with the Kinder Bueno White is it's got these tiny little balls all over it.
Yeah,
See
they're
them? See
they're
these
messy.
tiny little lads? Delicious,
Yeah.
lovely texture in the mouth. Watch what happens when I try to eat it. Let the evidence show the top is destroyed. I'm going to have to throw that out. They go everywhere.
Yeah.
But I agree, the white tastes better.
You know what I had recently as well that I saw on TikTok is if you freeze them. Now it doesn't stop the messiness
I've done
of
it.
them, but freezing them, I've rate that now.
It's like an ice cream when you freeze
Yeah,
it.
it feels like more of a treat.
I'm just swallowing the fucking 10,000 balls of Kinder Bueno there.
Sawdust.
Hurtling down my throat is the messy Kinder Bueno. Good choice. Okay, so we massively agree on this. I absolutely love Kinder Buenos.
Fantastic.
Now, the moment I've all been waiting for is the main dish, your favorite meal.
Well, so you're a man after my own heart, so I wouldn't say this is my favourite meal of all time. But
Okay.
meal week to week where I'm not arse cooking,
Yeah.
I'll grab a rotisserie chicken from Dunne's
Okay.
and a good roll
Okay.
and stuff.
Oh man, this is gonna be good.
Also have gravy. Now, I didn't make any of this. I just bought everything this morning. 'Cause
That's perfect.
Garron, I like it, but I wasn't making a full
That's-
roast chicken at 8 o'clock this morning.
Very fair. Oh yeah.
So they're the bake yourself rolls. So
Look at that. This is my death row meal.
yeah.
This
So
actually
just-
is my death
The
row
second
meal.
you started speaking, I was trying not to kick my feet under the table.
This
This
is
has
my
worked
death
out
row
so
meal
perfectly.
because I would have to probably get 3 chickens, not for the meat but for the stuffing inside. So I'm gonna let you apply the gravy here because
Yeah.
I'm gonna see how a chef does it.
I normally just go straight over the top.
You're going all in.
Yeah, and then maybe a bit extra for dipping then as well.
Okay, lovely. I'm gonna be judicious because I'm known to make a mess.
Same here. I'm a bit of a dribbler at times.
See, now I haven't even considered. That's hot. I haven't even considered adding gravy to this.
It's just a bit more soakage, especially with the stuffing and all then as well.
I generally have my microphone is kind of in my way, and,
It's just gravy all
and,
down the
and,
side.
and I really want to eat this. So I'm not going to eat the whole thing, even though I will be tempted to.
Oh, cheers.
Okay, let's cheers. Let's have a go. Fucking hell. That is the death row meal.
I was so happy when you said it there because I was like, this couldn't have worked out better.
That is literally like if I had to choose, because people ask me what my favorite food is, and I always have to come up with something that's more interesting than what I actually mean. So I'll always say like I love sushi, so I'll always say, oh, sushi is my favorite
Just
food.
to sound a bit exotic.
Exactly, just to sound like I'm a bit cultured. But my actual favorite food is sandwiches.
Yeah, same. I would either go, like my go-to dinners would be something like this or genuinely just a ham and cheese toastie. If I'm not cooking, like
Yeah,
sometimes I've been, like, especially if I've been cooking all day, the last thing I want to be doing is actually cooking my own dinner then.
yeah.
So the ham and cheese toastie or something like this, a rotisserie chicken, rip it apart, make a sambo out of it.
Totally agree. Once you put something between 2 pieces of bread, you are in absolute business. There's no need to be cultured. This is what you want.
perfect.
This is what you want. Okay, so obviously you're doing your videos at the moment. What's your kind of plans coming up? Is there anything in particular you're looking to do, or
During lockdown, as I was saying about the cookies, I kind of did that for a short period and I did a couple
so you were selling these cookies? Because you told me earlier you always like to bring cookies because
Yeah, the lads used to not guilt me, but there'd be a party coming up or someone's birthday, and they'd be messaging me going, "Don't suppose you have any cookies made?"
one of the things I've noticed, because I just hit 30 and I've started to realise I don't have any friends, really good close friends that can cook, because I never get brought any nice shit.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I need to hook up with some chefs and get into that clique where, because I do see people all the time, they're like, oh, this person brought this. It's like, nobody fucking brings me anything.
I like food as well.
I'm going to keep this now, hang it on my wall and go, look, somebody
Get it
brought me
framed.
that.
The first meal I ever got brought.
Yeah. But so yeah, you got into it. You got into it during lockdown, just selling.
Yeah,
Was that your first time like cooking for
other people?
Yeah.
Well, bar family,
Yeah.
absolutely, and stuff like that. It was I'd made them, and it was just one of the lads, Mackie, had texted me one day and just said, if I paid for them ingredients, would you make me cookies? And I was like, yeah. I was like, he was like, and what else do I need to give you? I was like, no, just cover the cost of the ingredients. I was like, I don't care, you're one of the lads. And then I was like, wait, if one of my best mates willing to pay me for food, I'm sure randomers will as well.
And best mates often won't even give you money back they've taken from you.
Absolutely. So I was like, for him to even offer me money, I was like, oh shit, I would have just done it for nothing. Like, and then I was like, well, if I think he actually threw it up. And people started messaging me, being like, "Are you selling these?" And I was like,
threw it up as in put it up
sorry,
online.
No, sorry, he threw up a story.
Not as in ate the cookies and threw them up.
Vomited everywhere.
That wouldn't have been a good start to the business.
That would have been a horrible start. Yeah, I think he put a story up, and people started messaging him and me, being like, "Are you selling them?" Yeah. I was like, "Not really." So I kind of stayed just the people I know, and then I think I did 1 or 2 pop-ups over lockdown, and like there was people queuing to get cookies at me.
Oh, right. Okay. Well, listen, I've tasted them now, so I believe it.
That's something, I've no plans of it yet, but it's something I'd like to get up and going again because I did enjoy it.
Yeah.
It was something that I'm a people person. I like serving people.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't mind being in that situation again where I'm actually working in a cafe.
Yes.
Dishing out cookies, dishing out sandbox.
So is that your main thing that you like doing, is bacon, or...?
No, I actually don't even enjoy bacon that much. Just they clicked perfectly. I don't know what it was. It was just... They worked out every single time, and then because I was making them for so many people, the recipe's just ingrained into my head. So I don't even need to think about it. I just do them. Yeah,
it makes sense.
Yeah, so it was just more. I don't know if it was a plan, but it came that way that they started selling.
Right. Okay. Well, now I can't cook at all, so I can make like spuds and a meat. And most of the time...
me too, veg man.
Yeah. Most of the time I believe the meat is cooked properly, but sometimes it's suspect. So for somebody like me who's 30, who can't cook, how would you recommend kind of getting into it?
Honestly, just like I have...
You were always into cooking, were you?
Yeah, I started cooking for myself at like 15, 16, but when
So did I, but the quality was just...
But I was the same. It was... Chicken was getting whacked in the oven with no seasoning on it. There was spuds being whacked in a pot and getting boiled, and broccoli the same. Yeah,
but you see, you make these videos where you're like, oh, I'm going to show you this really simple recipe, and it's just like spuds and chicken. And it's like, okay, yeah, I can get in on that. And what you're doing isn't complicated, but what ends up on the plate looks drastically different to what I...
Now, if you go back through the Instagram, they do gradually get worse the further you go back. The plating and the visuals have gotten a lot better over the years.
Yeah.
That was definitely the biggest learning curve, was like, how do you actually make this stuff look good?
It looks good.
Because it could taste like glue for all you know. Like.
Yeah. I think people, like some of my food actually tastes all right because I put a lot of butter and onion salt into it, and those things taste lovely.
Stuff, yeah.
But when I present it to people, I think they're highly skeptical of what's being put on front of them and kind of afraid to touch it. And then I think even if it does taste nice, they're like, there has to be something kind of wrong here.
It's throwing me off here. Like.
So, as somebody who, when I put something on front of people, they're like, I'm not sure about that. That looks horrendous. What are some visual changes I can make to my meat and 2 veg to make it look more appealing?
I think a lot of the biggest problem with the Irishness in us is the lack of colour on things. I think things are always very pale and very anemic looking.
Absolutely. And I'm used to it.
Yeah.
Like I remember...
Visuals do not bother me at all. But especially when it comes to coddle, it's the palest...
Yes.
Just... plainest looking thing in the world, and it's horribly looking.
Absolutely.
And it's hard to dress up. So I think it's just getting a bit of colour on things does improve visuals.
Because I do very occasional videos where I cook.
So I've watched the Colcannon and the bacon and cabbage.
Yeah. So the bacon and cabbage is one in particular. That bacon and cabbage was absolutely delicious that I made.
Yeah, and it's the beigest plate in the world.
It looked horrendous. It didn't even look like I'd really cooked it. It just was like sort of a collection of slop and something that vaguely resembled bacon. There's no real way to make bacon and cabbage look good.
No.
You can't really jazz it up. Maybe you could put a bit of parsley on the potatoes.
Yeah, just a bit of greenery there just to dress it up a little. Like.
How do you get your roast potatoes to look so nice and gold?
You're basically frying them.
Okay.
That's the best way. It's like a ripping hot oven and a good amount of oil.
Because I seen one video, I don't know exactly which one it was, and you made these roast potatoes and they looked absolutely divine. Like they were like real crispy and they were this orange colour. And mine always sort of mine are always like the edges are brown and then it just kind of dries up in the middle.
I think my roasties are the thing that most people know me for.
Yeah.
Like there's been so many occasions where I've been somewhere and like people don't know my name, but they go, the roasty fella.
It's the roaster.
Yeah.
It's like me getting I'm delicious.
Yeah.
Mr. Delicious.
I've been on nights out and like there's been lads pointing at me from across the bar and he's like, and I'm like, him? And they're like, roasties.
I feel like it's a lot better to be known for good roast potatoes than shouting at cups of tea and saying I'm delicious.
Yeah, I lost my train of thought there.
What's the trick?
The trick for the roasties,
Yeah.
it's frying them. It's a good amount of oil, ripping hot oven. Like you want the sizzle as the roasties hit the tray.
Yes.
So you want that oil super hot before you're basically frying them.
Yeah. Okay.
And then to get that, like I always call it like the arse of the spud. So the flat side.
Yes.
I'll always make sure they go in the flat side down first.
Okay.
So that then is like getting proper seared on the bottom of the tray.
Right.
To begin with.
I haven't actually got into oven temperatures yet. So I'm the sort of fella I just kind of
full whack, yeah.
max.
Full whack, yeah.
There's no preheating. There's none of that.
Preheating is the only thing I will say.
Can you explain to me? This is going to be obvious to everyone at home. What does preheating achieve? To me, it makes my dinner take 20 minutes longer.
And that's so what I got into the habit of, because I always just thought it was a farce. I'm like, what is the point of this?
Yeah.
It was only when I started baking that I realised that it does make a bit of a difference.
Yeah.
Because if you're whacking it in and only turning the oven isn't actually at temperature. So if it's 25 minutes at 160, then first like 7 minutes, it's not at 160.
Oh, okay.
So when it comes to baking, it's a bit more finite, but everything else I think it's a bit looser.
Is that why everything I cook burns on the outside and is still somewhat raw on the inside?
Yeah, usually. Because the oven itself, it's starting to cook from the outside rather than the whole thing being cooked at the same time.
Okay, now I feel like you're just tech support for my oven.
Have you tried turning it on and off?
So like,
again?
why does my oven only cook on one side?
That I can't answer.
Sometimes I look at other people like cooking online and I feel like sometimes like you're using fundamentally different stuff than I'm using, because when I try and do this, it just doesn't happen.
Where am I going wrong here?
Yeah, for ages I bought a really expensive pan and stuff still sticks to it, and I know it's user error, but I can't figure out what it is I'm doing wrong.
I don't even have a frying pan at the moment.
You don't have a frying pan?
One got absolutely ruined and I just haven't replaced it yet, so I've been using woks and just random stuff in the house like saucepans, just me frying stuff.
I used a wok as my frying pan for a good 7 or 8 years, because I was renting a house and it just I don't know why it was. I mean, it was Mayo, and I knew the fella. He was a farmer, but for some reason he only had a wok in the house. But I found it great. It's great for eggs.
I fry my eggs in a wok.
It's really good for omelets.
Yeah,
because you can kind of spread it around.
Yeah, and then you have all that nice surface then. Yeah, I use mine for 8. That would make
it's
my
good
breakfast.
For scrambled eggs too.
I haven't made scrambled in it actually. I fry my eggs in mine.
All right, okay. Well, I'm telling you, try it out.
I'll have to try that out. I'm learning.
Do you have any like other little tricks that make like simple things that you cook a little bit better? Mine is onion salt. I put onion salt on anything that's meant to be salty and taste a bit of onion.
I wouldn't say necessarily tips on like bar equipment. Like a good knife makes a difference.
Yes.
Like it doesn't have to be mad money, but an actual sharp knife will make your life so much easier.
Absolutely.
Because I've gone to people's houses or gone abroad and then you're nearly taking your fingers off because the knife is so blunt.
I am one of those people, but I recently got nice knives, and
a
they
good
have
knife
actually changed my life.
Yeah, you don't realise how, like, until you get a new nice knife, you're like, holy Lord, what have I been using the last while? Like,
yeah,
I'm surprised I've taken
and
a
since
finger.
I got a nice knife, whenever I go anywhere and somebody doesn't have a knife, I absolutely bury them with insults. Like I go back to my mother's house and my mother has the bluntest knives on the planet, and I go, would you not just spend a bit of money on knives, you heathen?
I'm the same. I go to my girlfriend's house and I'm bringing like knives with me, and I'm like, I'm just bringing my kitchen knives, but I'm like, this is a bit suspect. I always feel guilty walking around with them. I'm like, no, I swear I'm just cooking here.
So knives, you think is the
100%. Like you don't need to be spending mad money. Like my first half decent one was from TK Maxx.
Okay,
it was just I think it was 25, 30 quid.
Mine has a little sharpening stone on the bottom now.
Fancy.
I basically use it to open my Just Eat boxes that I've got.
Class.
What's your favourite herb or spice?
Herb or spice?
You seem like a cumin man, but I could be wrong.
I'm a big basil man, to be honest.
Basil, okay.
Yeah, I love a bit of basil. Like just the smell of fresh basil is one of my favourite things in the world.
Do you have a least favourite one?
At least turmeric.
I hate turmeric.
Yeah,
I hate it.
I don't mind putting it in things, but you know when you just get the smell of it.
Have you ever had turmeric tea?
But I've had turmeric tablets before because they're supposed to be good for inflammation.
Are there? Is that all horseshit? I
feel
like nobody was talking about turmeric there until I'm not giving medical advice. I'm obese, so if you're listening to me, that's your fucking problem, right? But like, I feel like nobody was on about the medicinal qualities of turmeric a few years, and all of a sudden, few people started drinking turmeric tea, and all of a sudden, I'm meant to be taking it for everything.
I think it's supposed to be a good anti-inflammatory, as far as I know.
Right.
But
Okay.
the only thing with the tablets I'll say is they're grand, but then 20 minutes later you'll belch, and that's all you'll taste.
Oh, that sounds horrific. That sounds. Do you know what my favorite one is? My favorite. It's actually. I think it's kind of more of an edited spice, but I love smoked paprika.
Oh yeah,
Smoked paprika. I see when I find a new flavor, I just start putting it in everything.
Yeah,
so like I found out about smoked paprika and that I liked it, and everything I cooked for 6 months, it was bacon and cabbage with the new added ingredient of smoked paprika and everything.
I have a new recipe for you, lads.
Yeah, that's what I used to say, and I get pure. Like I found out if I put a little bit of olive oil in my mashed potatoes, I like the texture better. So I just I put it like half a teaspoon in, and I mix it up, and then like now. After I discovered that, and a little bit of onion salt, after I discovered that, right, every time somebody ate my mash, I have to stand smugly beside them with my arms crossed going, that's different to the normal kind of mash you'd get off someone else,
Do you think it's better?
Yeah.
You're just waiting for the compliment.
Are you noticing any sort of textural improvement in that from what you would have had before? Because it's just I have a secret ingredient. No biggie, no, I'm not telling you.
Absolutely not. You can't be giving away the family secrets.
I've given it away there. Do you know what? I mentioned onion salt once when I was making that bacon and cabbage video. I mentioned that I use onion salt in the potatoes. There's a page on Reddit where it's actually a hate thread about me that somebody sent to me, right? People send me my own hate threads. But it's like a hate thread on Reddit basically where they're like, oh, Garron fell off or whatever. He used to be funny, but he's not now. But somebody goes, kind of agree, not as big as fan anymore, but he is dead right about onion salt and mash.
Credit where credit is due, sort of a thing.
And I appreciate them being able to see past their dislike of me and appreciate the science I've been doing.
You have a hatred on Reddit, man.
I try have a couple of them. They pop up every now and then, yeah.
That's mad to me.
And the worst, I don't even mind the people writing in the hate thread. It's the people that fucking send them to me that are the problem.
As if you want to know.
People are like, oh, Garron, there's a lot of people kind of hating on you on Reddit. And I'm like, well,
know.
Why have you pointed me in that direction?
I didn't know up until now when I was blissfully ignorant of it.
I was blissfully walking through life thinking, most people either think I'm okay or don't care about me. Now I have to know that there's a large contingent of people who fucking wish I was dead, but appreciate my mash. And I'll take that. That's enough for me.
I recently did that where I rediscovered Aromat.
Oh, Aromat's the best.
You know, just you forgot about it, and there was one day I picked up a tub lately, and it's gone on everything since.
Yeah,
it's just going on everything.
Aromat goes in the spuds. It's good on steak, just a tiny bit on your bit of steak.
Well, I'll have to try that. I've been making chips with it, and then just seasoning it with Aromat after it.
Do you put vinegar on?
Oh yeah,
Aromat and vinegar is the combination.
Yeah.
I don't know if they have Aromat if you're not watching this from Ireland, but I don't know if it is everywhere. But it's just MSG basically.
Yeah, it's like chicken.
I used to think it was because they've got loads of vegetables and shit on the front. I used to think it was blended up soup. I used to think it was like soup they'd dried up, but it's not. It's just the worst thing.
I think it's pretty much just like chicken stock.
Yeah, it is. It's like really salty.
Yeah, it's so salty. Yeah, a little goes a long way, but it's class.
Absolutely brilliant. Yeah, Aromat is my secret weapon. Absolutely, and everything.
I go through so many bottles of it now since I've like rediscovered it.
Yeah,
it's just you remember something.
You're probably better off on the turmeric than on the Aromat. I'd say it's less good for your health, but it is much tastier. So what's coming up next? Have you got any mad plans?
No mad plans. I hate saying this. There's a few things I want to get moving, but I haven't even thought about getting the finger out to start them yet. So
yeah,
it's kind of just an idea at the moment, but I wouldn't mind getting them moving. I was in my old school last year. They asked me, don't ask me why, they asked me to come back in. They wanted me to come in after the 4 years, and somehow a conversation came up about doing like a home ec thing.
Oh, class.
So that's something I'd love to start looking at now, because I think that'd be my buzz, because I always wanted to be a teacher when I was younger as well.
Yeah.
So I think like a little 4-week block in 4 years, but doing food they want.
Yeah, that's
not
class.
dragging kids into making stuff they have no interest in.
I think that's one of the good things about like social media is a lot of people like get in through like just they get in through looking at like really insane, like this is a Kinder Bueno cake with 4 million calories in it. But then they kind of wind up getting over to normal stuff and they're like, oh, maybe I'd like to learn to cook. Whereas when I was a kid and it wasn't on the internet, I couldn't give a fuck. Like we had that, what was it called? Epic Meal Time. Do you remember that?
Yeah.
When I was a kid. But there was nobody actually cooking. It was just people wrapping loads of stuff and
buying
baking.
10,000 slices of bacon and just putting them into a
So when I
roll.
was a kid, I was like, I'd love to learn to wrap things and bacon. But I think there's a lot of people now who find that content, kids who are like, oh, I might get into cooking.
I think like I noticed that at the time in the school because you know what, you're like in fourth year. Any questions? Just deadpan.
How do you make a chicken fillet roll?
Yeah, basically. But it was actually afterwards a few of the lads in the year had texted me being like, I take part in this sort of sport. Is there anything I should be eating? And I'm like, well, if you're doing that much training, you just need to eat. So I was just sending them like recipes that they could make themselves.
Yeah.
Just basic stuff that they could do.
And turmeric.
And a load of turmeric. All the anti-inflammatories you can get into.
Yeah, that's right. So is that kind of the goal? Is there any sort of goal with the social media stuff? Is there anywhere you'd like to take it? Or are you just kind of seeing what happens?
Yeah, kind of seeing what happens. I'm an indecisive man on the best of days. So
Same as myself.
I'm a day by day sort of person. I try not think, like I know I should have a bit more of a plan, but I kind of get too focused on that.
You're talking to the wrong man to feel guilty about not having plans.
It's day by day. Like.
I get asked a lot, like, oh, Garron, what's your plan with everything now? You must be looking forward. I'm like, oh, no, I'm not. I'm still trying to figure out why people are even watching the videos I've already made.
My biggest decision in the day is what I'm having for dinner and what I'm making that day. Like that's
what's for dinner today?
I'm actually making soup today.
Soup?
I'm making soup today. Not for dinner now, but just that's what I'm making.
What sort of soup?
I haven't actually fully made my mind up, but I've had a potato and leek soup on my mind the last few days.
Yeah, potato and leeks.
Yeah.
And what sort of bread do you combo that with?
I actually was just thinking of doing like a good ham and cheese toasty.
Yeah.
That's why I was thinking
fabulous.
for a bit of dipping, but haven't put too much thought into the toasty yet, but it needs a toasty to go alongside it.
I'll be coming over for that as well.
You can come straight over. I'll drop a bowl in.
I suppose we better finish up because I want to eat this roll, to be honest with you. Is just your social media handles there if you want to.
It's Phil Done Right and everything. So Done is Dunne.
And we might be teaming up for me to give him my death row meal. He's going to make it maybe in his death row meal series. I'm going to pick a different one. I'm going to be more creative with it. So watch out. And you, stay delicious. Good luck.